I'm Christopher Elliott, consumer advocate, journalist, author, and troublemaker. And today I'm going to make a lot of trouble. I decided I was going to go live and just start talking because that's what live streaming is. And if you're not tuned in live, well, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to watch this thing when it replays later on. It doesn't even matter. It's Saturday night in the United States, but it is not Saturday night where I am. I'm actually in Christchurch, New Zealand, where it's Sunday at 11:14 in the morning. Wow, we're a whole day ahead of you. Can you believe it? And I have a lot to talk about today. And since it's live streaming, anything could happen. Hey, we've got someone watching already. This is great. I have really two issues that are happening here. Wait, hang on a second. Hey, Tanyas from West Papua New Guinea. Wow, you're not kidding me. That's not very far away from where I am. I mean, we're kind of in the same time zone almost, give or take a couple of hours. That's pretty cool. Love it. Hey, tell me what you're up to, and I'd love to hear. And we've got someone Omandi. Omandi, tell me where you are. I would love to know. And I'd love to hear what you're up to. It's Sunday morning where you are. Yes, very cool. Hey, another Facebook user logging in. How are you? Love it, chatters. It's so cool to see you here today. And you're probably asking yourself, what could a consumer advocate say that could possibly be of interest? But I just got a story that I published in Forbes this morning. Well, actually, it was late yesterday about airline luggage, and we can definitely talk about that. Bikram from Nepal, awesome to have you. In fact, and Brenda from Kissimmee, Florida. We've got a global audience here. Debashi, how are you, Debashi? Where are you? Tell me where you are. You're logging in I can see from LinkedIn. This is so cool. I love it. By the way, I have to give a little plug to my friends in Christchurch. I'm a little bit caffeinated from, this is the place that I went. It has a long line in front of it, Espresso Studio. I can literally, I feel like, and I wouldn't know what being on cocaine is like because I've never tried it, but they tell me that it's very similar. So I'm a little bit jittery and high energy. Christopher. Roberto from Cancun. Welcome to I don't even know what this is, Office Hours with Christopher. And Debashi says you're from India. Cool. Debashi, India is definitely on one of my places to visit. I have never been, but I'm traveling around the world with my two sons, and I really want to go. So where, Debashi, am I saying it correctly? Where in India are you, and would you recommend that I visit? So I would love to know. So please let me know. I'm reading your chat comments right now, so we can talk about that. But let me get straight to. I'm going to have some more coffee because I really need coffee this morning. It's not even morning anymore. It's almost afternoon. Anyway. So I wanted to talk about luggage because what's going on right now is it's a little bit insane. Kolkata. Is that like Calcutta? Kolkata? Debashi says he's from. Good place to visit? I would love to know. Let me know if I should visit. And maybe if any of you chatters have been to India, if that's worth adding to my itinerary, I would love to go. One of my web developers actually is from India, and he says if I go, I have to take an entire month to go. And I would love to spend an entire month in India. That sounds like a lot of fun. I could do this from here or from there. They do the live, whatever this is called, Office Hours with Christopher. Okay, I want to talk about luggage. So what you may not know is there's just a report that came out that said basically airlines are making more money off luggage than they have in years. I'm talking about billions of dollars off of luggage. And it's not just the check luggage that they're making money off of, it's carry-on luggage too. So what'll happen is that you'll get to the airport and they will say, oh yeah, your carry-on is a little bit too big. You have to pay an extra $75 or you have to leave it there. And this actually happened to me when I was flying out of Brisbane, Australia. I was flying from Brisbane to Hobart. And it was Virgin Australia. a woman, who was at the check-in counter basically said, either you repack or you have to leave your bag here. Now, I was not going to leave my carry-on luggage. Obviously, I didn't know anyone in Brisbane I could leave it with. So what I did was I took some things out of the bag and put them into a different bag, which is a little bit ridiculous because it's the same amount of weight that's going with you. Debashi says, Calcutta is the city of joy. I like that. I would love to be in a place called the city of joy. Although I will say that Christchurch is very, very friendly. People here are really nice. There are actually a lot of Indians that I've met here too, but people are extra, extra friendly in New Zealand. If you don't mind a detour here, before I came here, I was actually invited to come to New Zealand by the tourism people. And when I got here, they basically stopped responding to my emails. And I thought, why would they do such a thing? I mean, I'm a journalist. I write for, Forbes and for USA Today, and I have 3 nationally syndicated columns. So why would they stop responding to me? And now I know. The secret is that the tourism people here in New Zealand are not hired to promote tourism. They're actually hired to keep people from visiting the city or visiting the country. So they don't want people to come here because they don't want anyone to discover how great it is here. And it really is. It's an amazing place. I like it so much here. So now I know that they didn't really want me to come here. They were just going through the motions. The New Zealand tourism people don't want you to visit because you might actually move to New Zealand if you do. So let's talk a little bit though about luggage. A question for chatters. So if you're in the chat right now and you're seeing this, I would love to know: have you ever been charged for overweight luggage? And if so, how much? And if you want to add a little bit of extra information, where were you when it happened? I would love to know, because we want to name and shame the airline and we want to name and shame the agents who did this to you. Bad agents, very bad. Now I know that the agents are kind of like victims as well in some cases, because they're being incentivized to charge you these fees, and so they're getting a little extra bonus on the back end, which is a terrible thing. I mean, I saw this one time. I was in, where was I? I was in Cyprus. So I was in Nicosia at the airport, and there was a gate agent who was basically telling a family of, it was 6 people. They were flying from Nicosia to Tel Aviv, that they couldn't get on the flight unless they paid a lot of extra money for their luggage, which was just was so stupid. You could see how upset they were. The kids were crying and everything like that. Really horrible. Anyway, Steve, how are ya? Steve, it's good to see you there. I haven't heard from you in a while. So Steve says he has not been charged. Well, I'll put Steve's comment up here. There you are, Steve. Usually when I visit my parents, they keep clothes for me at their house. Smart thing. So I don't have to bring anything except for my computer. Yeah, I love it. I usually try to bring a change of clothes in my carry-on, but that last time was that the Brisbane thing was not good. And Steve says, "I'm good. How are you?" I'm fine, actually. The boys and I are doing good. We're loving New Zealand, and we're heading up to Auckland in a couple of weeks. Are you still in LA, Steve? I know that you were there for a while, and then I kind of lost track of where you were. So let me know where you are. And also, since you're kind of an insider too, I've known you for a really long time. Like, do you have any tips for avoiding checked luggage, or checked luggage fees, or carry-on luggage fees? Oh yes, so Steve says he is still in Los Angeles. Not a bad place to be. Where in LA are you? Santa Clarita, California. Wasn't there there was some kind of a Netflix show called Santa Clarita Diet with zombies, I want to say. Do you remember that? Oh man, I think they put 3 shots of espresso in this thing. I am okay. All right, I got to stop drinking this. Anyway, Okay, so let me go over here. Who says never saw it? I made it through like I want to say half an episode of that, and then I thought, yeah, this is not really for me. I'm more of a documentary film kind of guy myself, but uh, yeah, it was not really. I liked her in ET though. I thought that the eating people was just not my thing. Because that's the premise of the whole thing is that they're eating people. Um, so bad, very bad. Do any of the other chatters have like tips? So if you're watching this, just leave a comment with your tips on luggage. I'm going to share the screen here for a second with you and uh, talk about this story in Forbes. So this went up today. By the way, click on this, please, and that way I will. Uh, they like it when you click on my stories. But I had a couple of tips for avoiding luggage fees. It's $29 billion. I don't really have a good head for numbers, which is why I didn't say the number initially. And also, I've had way too much caffeine. But anyway, $29 billion in luggage fees last year. That was according to IdeaWorks. And so, okay, let's just go over some of these tips here. Um, Make sure you're following the airline rules. And not just following the airline rules, but following the rules and then some. And the reason why is that they're very strict, and sometimes those scales don't work. When I was at the airport in where was I in Melbourne? I actually had a chance to look at the luggage scales and kind of test them. There was an abandoned set of luggage scales. They were not using them, kind of between flights, and they were not accurate. So so make sure that you're actually under. Then also wear your luggage. My good friend Scott Jordan makes really great clothes, Scott eVest clothes, and you can wear a vest and you can pack your belongings into the vest as well. And then weigh yourself before you leave. That's another good one. Bob Batchelor, who was actually on the show yesterday, or can we call it a show? I don't know. He was talking about uh, he was telling me about how you actually can just get one of those. They're very inexpensive. These weights that you can get, scales that they're portable, and that will allow you to know how much you have. I talked to my friend Andrea, and Andrea, does a lot of money saving tips, and she says get a card. I think that that's a fine tip, but remember that nothing in life is free, and those cards they can actually cost you in the long run because of the way that you end up spending your money because the cards are meant to steer your spending to a certain company, and you may actually pay more even though you're getting a quote unquote free check bag. So be careful with that one. I had this chart from IdeaWorks, which is, yeah, there it is. You can see it. You can book an airline that doesn't charge for luggage. Hey, look at that. You've got all these Asian carriers that do not charge. Okay, I guess Qantas is technically not an Asian, it's more of a Pacific carrier, but Air China, Cathay Pacific, Korean Air, Singapore, all don't charge for the first check bag. Emirates and Qatar Airways, those are airlines that I truly love. They're like flying Pan Am 30 years ago. It's everything, it's full service. And they don't charge either. And then you have, of course, in the United States, you've got Southwest Airlines, poor Southwest Airlines. But anyway, I think they're going to make it. They're going to do this summer will be their moment to shine, especially if they don't charge any extra luggage fees. The bottom line really is that they're coming for you. I mean, the airlines this summer are coming for your luggage, and they want extra money from you if you even if it looks like you're under and you're traveling with a regulation size bag, they're going to find some way of getting some money from you. Oh, wow, look at this. We've got some really good chat comments. All right, let's see here. We've got Vivek. I hope I pronounced it right. Carry a weight scale. Excellent tip. And weigh the luggage before leaving home. Scales are rigged. Yes, I agree. Scales are rigged. And these, when I was in Melbourne, I was shocked because the scales, I would go there and I would see them and it would say point 0.1, point 0.2, and there'd be nothing on them. So I know that these luggage scales are not accurate. There may be even be more shenanigans going on. We don't know. Make sure that you weigh it and bring your scale with you. If it's a small one, you can bring it with you and you can say, look here, this is, I weighed it and this is how much it is. But make sure you come in under. So if it's at 15 kilos or 10 kilos for the limit, make sure you're coming in at 9 kilos. That way there's no doubt about how much you've got there and whether it's a regulation size. I love these chat comments. Please keep them coming. Brenda says, Virgin charged my 85-year-old mother-in-law $100 at Orlando on the way home to London because she accidentally booked a value ticket on the way home. She'd book a different fare on her way out. Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned this, Brenda, because airlines would love to sell you one of these kind of stripped down tickets because they know they're going to make more money off the tickets. This is just buying psychology. They know that if you see a $195 fare from London to Orlando, not that you would, but it's probably going to be more like $595. You're more likely to buy that than to buy one, even a fare that's like, say, $625, just a little bit more. That includes your luggage. And so they know then that they can, when you come back and you're flying, or maybe you're at that second or third screen, that you're more likely to say, oh, I got a really good deal, and then they add the taxes, and then they add luggage. You've got a bag that you have to carry. Well, that's going to be an extra however much. And so in the end, they really get you. You end up paying more money for the ticket than if you had just bought a bundled fare. And airlines know that, and it's really, I hate that. I think it's totally unethical. And Brenda also mentions that they charged mom $50 for her carry-on. That's ridiculous. I need more caffeine. Anyway, so I would love to know from you, my fellow chatters who are still with me now from all over the place, what are your plans for this summer when it comes to airlines that you're going to fly? And does luggage weigh into that decision? No pun intended. Are you going to fly on one of the low-cost carriers, or are you going to buy one of the basic airfares? And just be very careful about the luggage that you carry on with you or that you try to check. Or are you going to go for the Qatar Airways, Emirates, Air China, the Southwest Airlines that are including a bag and maybe some of the other things that might get unbundled too. So you know what to do. Leave a message in the chat, and I would love to talk to you about that. Like I said, I'm just experimenting around with live streaming. I think that there might be something to this. We will definitely see. But we got another one here. Steve, you're back, Steve. Steve says he'll be visiting his parents in May and July. Not May through July. Because if I visited my parents from May through July, they would either kick me out or call the police. Can't stay for that long. Flying on United Airlines, my condolences. My fare comes with one checked bag included. Yeah, even United Airlines on long haul flights, they will include a bag. It's unusual for full service airlines, or legacy airlines, I should say, to charge for the first bag on these really long flights, because they know that everyone has to carry something with them. So you see, typically the points of conflict that you see are when it's a domestic flight, like within Australia, you will see, oh, Steve, I got to put this one up. My parents want me to move in with them. Oh, I love it. not to go too far off on a tangent, but I wish that I had that kind of a relationship with my parents. They definitely don't want me moving in with them. And I the way I see it, I have 3 kids and 2 of them are with me, fortunately. I don't want them to leave, at least not yet. We have a really great relationship, and so, I love traveling around the world with my boys. And I love, I really have embraced the idea of a multi-generational household. um, I think that if my grandmother were still alive, I probably would be with her and I would have the kids with me. So it would be 3 generations. But unfortunately, she passed away. She used to live in California. Um, uh, Brenda, thank you. This means so much to me that you said that because I love streaming too. And I know that we're just kind of getting started, but I love the interaction and getting taking your questions and trying to help people. Um, so Steve also mentions that United was the cheapest. I was hoping to fly Alaska Air, but they were a little more expensive. Did you mention where your parents were? They're in India, right? That Alaska Air, that would have been a code share, right? I'm assuming that would be a code share. Someone needs to stop me from having too much caffeine here. I don't have very much left, but I think that okay. When I went here, there was a really long line and they said something to the effect of 3 shots standard. And I'm going, oh, yeah, 3 shot standard. I could definitely go for that. Not thinking to myself that I've been off the caffeine for a long time. So now I'm back on the caffeine and this is fully caffeinated, Chris. So be careful. Oh, and Steve says they live in Newark, New Jersey. Oh, okay. Well, you had a lot of choices flying from LA to Newark, right? I mean, you could have flown on Southwest or any of the legacy carriers probably could have gotten you there. Alaska Airlines, though, does have it's kind of has a little bit better of a reputation for customer service. So I would have probably preferred Alaska Airlines there. And I love seeing people join the live stream and then unjoin the live stream. So I'm watching people come and go. Pretty cool. Um, all right, we got even more. Yeah, Steve, I prefer Southwest. They only go to LaGuardia right now. I think they go down to Islip as well. Do they still go to Islip? But yeah, I think that if Southwest Airlines did fly into all of the New York airports, I think that would change the dynamic a lot. But you have issues with landing slots and all that. So anyway, another we've got. Thanks for bringing the subject up. I'm flying to Australia's top end. Would that be the north or the east? Right. So there's like the on Western Australia side or Eastern Australia side. Anyway, you can just give me your answer here. I'd love to know. I'm flying, and I totally forgot to think about luggage weight, especially on Australia's domestic airlines. Oh well, hey, glad I helped. I was in Australia for 3 months, and so I flew from Perth to Brisbane, and from Brisbane then to Hobart to Melbourne. So I did a lot of domestic flying, and I found that on the longer flights, so the transcontinental flights, it was okay. It was like Virgin Australia. The planes were a little bit run down, but the people were really nice, and we didn't get stopped for any kind of luggage issues. And then on when we took the shorter flights from Brisbane to Hobart, that's when we started getting into trouble. So the really short flights, you found people there at Virgin Australia who were really strict. Like there was this one woman who basically told me, "You're going to have to abandon your bag," and I was going, "I have to abandon my bag." And so I ended up going away, repacking my bag, coming back, and fortunately she was gone. And so we've dealt with someone else, but it was really a close one. Our Facebook user, who is nameless, so anonymous Facebook user, don't know your name, says Kimberly from Darwin to Broome and then down to Perth. Okay, glad you mentioned that because I think that you might be getting yourself into some issues there because those are kind of shorter flights, and you might find yourself having a conflict with the luggage people. The luggage people. That sounds like either a villain from a James Bond movie or a rock group from the 1970s. It's not the village people, it's the luggage people. Anyway, okay, that was a really bad joke. I'm sorry. Um, Steve is still with us. Thanks for staying with us. When I say us, I really mean you, me, but it's we're all here together. JetBlue is actually being more like the legacy airlines by charging for almost everything. Ah, don't even get me started on JetBlue. JetBlue really sucks right now. I don't like what they're doing. I'm very upset by the charging. They used to not charge for extra for luggage. They used to have more leg room. They used to be nice, and now they want to merge with what, Spirit? I think about 6 months ago when that whole thing came out, my editors at USA Today asked me to do a story, and I called around and asked people, and the consensus was, after looking at the raw numbers, the complaint numbers from JetBlue and from Spirit, and the trajectory of the complaints, that JetBlue actually was more likely to become like Spirit than the other way around. So they're going to repaint if the merger goes through, they're going to repaint the planes, and then it's going to be more like a Spirit airline versus with all the baggage that comes with this. No pun intended. Another yes, Matt. Thanks for joining. I'm flying Alaska Airlines from Boston to Seattle next month, going only carry on. Yeah, good for you. Wear that luggage. Plan on shipping wine back. They allow you to carry it back for free. If they do allow you to carry the wine, that's good, but just be really careful. But I would do that too because, and I know a lot of people who are actually now, instead of checking their bags, they're actually wearing the luggage, or they're taking a very small carry-on to try to outwit the airlines. Airlines are getting very, very tricky. They know that they can't charge more for their fares, and so they're trying to find what are called ancillary fees that they can charge you. And luggage is really a low-hanging fruit, especially carry-on luggage. I wrote a big story about this in the Washington Post a while back, and the luggage fees that they charge for carry-on, that's where they're going to get you. And that's right now it's 4% of overall revenues, and that number climbs every year. It goes up. So be really careful if you can. Definitely carry on what you can, or even ship it. That's another option. Tanius, is there a regular schedule of direct flights from Gold Coast, Queensland to Honolulu, Hawaii? You know what? Let's find out here. I can do that. Let's see if I can. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen here with you. If you just go to Google Flights, I'm assuming that it would be Brisbane, Australia to Honolulu. And I think I know the answer to this. Let's find out. So one stop, two stops, nope. So no nonstop flight that I can see. You've got, this goes through Sydney. I think you have to go through Sydney, yeah, in order to go. But I know that they have nonstops from Melbourne and Sydney from Queensland. So yeah, I think that kind of answers your question. I hope that answers your question. If it does, let me know, and if not, then don't let me know, I guess. But yeah, that's Google Flights is great. I love Google Flights. Okay. I think that I wanted to switch topics very briefly. I think this might interest some of you here who have tuned into this live stream to find out about Vantage Travel. The Vantage Travel situation, as many of you know, there's a cruise line that does riverboat cruises over the world called Vantage Travel. And about 2 weeks ago, the site went offline and no one really knew what was going on. I had a brief correspondence with their legal counsel, and they said that they were dealing with what appeared to be a ransomware attack. Later on, that was confirmed that there was a ransomware attack. But in the meantime, also, apparently unrelated, some of their cruises were getting canceled, and that caused a lot of concern among their customers. And one of the reasons why there was so much concern is that we have literally hundreds of people who are owed a refund back from the pandemic. And I've written stories about this, and other people have written stories about this. And so they thought that there was a possibility, and they were starting to panic that Vantage would go out of business and take their money with them. So of course, I reached out to Vantage repeatedly to see if we could get some kind of clarity on what was going on, and there was a lot of confusion. And I'm just going to say, to the extent that I contributed to the confusion, I am sorry about that. There's sometimes, when a company doesn't talk, it becomes very difficult. You don't know what's actually going on, so you're only left to speculate. And I think that whatever I said in my live streams before was all just me going kind of blue skying it, going, I don't know what's happening, but we just don't know at this point, and we're trying to get a clearer answer, but Vantage is not talking. So Vantage is based in Boston. And earlier today, they put out a statement, and I'm going to see if I can go to that statement here, that basically said, let me see, where is that? We're around here somewhere. Okay, here it is. I'm just going to read parts of this. To our valued guests, as you may be aware, on April 20th, our company discovered a ransomware attack which took down our call center, website, email, and other internal systems. Our employees are working around the clock to overcome these challenges to continue serving guests who are en route or preparing for future departures. We apologize for the distress this is causing, and thank you for your patience as we work with experts to resolve these matters and bring you the latest information. As of 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, that was this last Friday, Vantage Travel, the website is back online with limited functionality as we continue to troubleshoot. Our call center is anticipated to be back online no later than Monday. So it goes on to say basically that you can still reach it through a Gmail account, and that they're continuing to correspond with existing customers. Interestingly, it says we are aware of conflicting news reports about Vantage Travel's operations and trip cancellations following our initial announcement, and know you have questions and concerns. To confirm, trips are underway and no trips have been disrupted or canceled specifically due to this incident. It didn't say that no trips have been affected. There actually have been some cancellations, but in a minute, though, I'll fill in some other interesting details. So it says, to confirm, we've canceled 4 trips to the Netherlands due to the vessel's readiness and 2 trips to Egypt. All impacted guests have been notified. With the recent U.S. State Department Sudan travel advisory, given the proximity, we're closely monitoring our trips to Egypt until further notice for the safety of our guests. Let me stop right there. I don't know that flies necessarily. I have not heard of any other Egypt trips being affected by the Sudan situation. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe, but I haven't really seen anything that would suggest that people shouldn't go to Egypt right now. But if I do run across some of that information, I will definitely let you know. Now, here is what happened in the Boston Globe. A few hours later, my colleague over there, Sean Murphy, who does really excellent consumer reporting, reported that 8 days after an apparent ransomware attack took down its website, Vantage Travel on Friday restored its website and announced to travelers that our cruises are sailing and we're ready to welcome you on board. So basically repeats what has been said in that announcement. So I don't know if Sean actually talked to anyone from Vantage or if he just saw this, but I do know that someone from Vantage must have reached out to the Boston Globe. And the reason why is, check this out. So it says here deep in the story, the Globe in an April 24th story incorrectly reported that the apparent hack had led Vantage to cancel one trip to the Netherlands and incorrectly reported, I'm emphasizing incorrectly here because we're going to see that a lot, in an April 26th story that Vantage blamed the apparent hack on that cancellation. In an April 27th story, the Globe incorrectly reported the company told a customer that the cancellation was due to an apparent attack. And then it goes on to explain why that they drew those conclusions, that they had actually heard from a customer named Eileen Chernoff, in which the company said, quote, regrettably, we must inform you that our upcoming trip is canceled less than 48 hours before it was set to begin. So, so the Globe apparently had, but which is an easy mistake to make, had connected a couple of dots that it shouldn't have connected and said that this thing was related to the apparent ransomware attack. But of course, and then now it's Vantage is saying that that's not the case. So, so I have been in this situation before as a reporter, and I can tell you that this is, I call this a negotiated correction, because you'll have someone, usually it's a lawyer or someone high up on the food chain, like a vice president, will call an editor at the newspaper and say, hey, you guys got this wrong. You're going to have to run a correction on it. And then editor will say, well, we were reporting and you guys didn't respond to what we were saying. And then they'll come to an agreement to maybe include a correction in an upcoming story instead of running a full correction in the paper, which is very embarrassing usually for the reporter. It's really embarrassing. But also a correction, when a company is asking for a correction, it's usually because they want to try to delegitimize the source, which is unfortunate because I think the Globe is really just trying to report what it saw. It wasn't really trying, it didn't have an agenda or anything like that. What's going on is that you have all these people who are contacting the Globe going, hey, it looks like our sailings have been canceled. What do we do now? Anyway, I have actually asked an expert on cruise law to join me. And let's see if maybe he has actually, he's here. I'll find out. No, unfortunately, no, he's not there. Oh, question from Carrie. Carrie, how are you? It's good to see you. She says, I have to laugh. This closed caption is calling Vantage Vanish Travel, which is kind of ironic. Well, maybe that's because I have a speech impediment. I don't know. Vanish Travel. That's good. Look, I have to be honest with you. I don't want Vantage Travel to disappear because it owes people so much money. I mean, we have people who are emailing us every day at my advocacy organization going, when am I going to get my refund? And so far, people are waiting months, even years to get their money back, which is absolutely absurd. There is no excuse for that. And I have to tell you, I'm really upset by that because I have to then talk to people who are dealing with Vantage and I have to say, look, it's going to be okay. You can always do a credit card dispute or you can go to small claims court. But honestly, your options are extremely limited if you're dealing with, if the money is with Vantage and if they're having these issues and there's a possibility that they may go under, you have very, very few good options. And I hope that you never have to, go to court or anything like that, because if you do, it's just going to be a real headache, especially if you end up in bankruptcy court. I mean, bankruptcy court, I was saying this yesterday, you end up there. It's not a first come, first serve thing in bankruptcy court. The big guys are always going to get ahead of you in the line. And the little guys like you and me, we're at the very end of the line and we're getting pennies on the dollar. So if you spent $30,000 on a Vantage cruise and they do file for a Chapter 11 protection, then you're going to get a couple of $100 maybe out of a bankruptcy settlement, if that, which is infuriating. I hope it never ever comes to that. But if it does, you're not in a good situation. So the question that I've been getting, and chatters, feel free to go ahead and leave your comments about Vantage Travel, and I would be happy to try to answer those because we're kind of getting ready to wrap things up here. But the question that I've been getting is, Vantage continues to send out brochures to people, inviting them to book for their 24, 25, 26 sailings. And the question is, should you go ahead and book something, even if they're offering, I've been getting emails about getting a big discount if you pay by cash, so if you pay by ACH. And the answer is obviously no. Do not book anything until this situation is fully resolved. And by fully resolved, I mean the ransomware attack is over and the site is back online and they're answering their phones again, and people have been paid back for what they're owed. Because right now, unfortunately, there are still a lot of people with canceled pandemic cruises that have been canceled that are owed money. And there's no disagreement about whether they're owed money. They are owed money. And so what Vantage needs to do is it has to pay these people back before I'm going to give the all clear and say, go ahead and book another Vantage cruise. And if you do, by the way, if you do book another Vantage cruise, or any cruise for that matter, my recommendation would be to use a travel advisor. Talk to someone who really knows their stuff and see if they can give you their best guidance. They'll probably tell you to use a credit card. That's excellent advice. That way you are protected. You do not want to ever pay by cash. No, no, no. That's not just the caffeine talking. I'm dead serious. You do not want to pay by cash. Never pay by cash. Because once you do that, it's very difficult to get the money back. I mean, you can. We've been talking, on the live stream about ACH disputes, but it's a little bit of a murkier gray area about getting your money back for that. I do hope that if you're watching this and you have filed an ACH dispute, I would love to know how successful you've been. And it is my sincere hope that you do get your money back. All right, I'm about ready to wrap this up. So if there are any other chatters who wanted to drop in a snarky comment for me, I'm happy to answer. I don't know if it's going to be what you're expecting, but I'm about ready to call it a day. So strictly between us, I would love to know, do you like these live streams? Should I continue doing them? If so, and if you're on right now, please leave a comment. Let me know when a good time is for a live stream. Like, should I be doing it at around this time? Should I do it earlier or later? I'm thinking of doing it at the same time every day if I do it. Should I have a little bit less caffeine or more caffeine? I can do more caffeine for sure. I love caffeine. Caffeine doesn't always love me. I'm probably going to crash really hard after this. I have a podcast going up a little bit later today on Elliott Confidential. I hope that you will tune in for that. I'm on with the boys, and we are talking about Christchurch and what we've been doing here. We've been doing a lot of hiking. I think that you will like that a lot, and I've got photos as well. So that's elliottconfidential.com. That's my newsletter. And I think tomorrow I might come back. Now tomorrow, of course, is Monday here, but it's going to be Sunday on the East Coast of the United States, where a lot of my viewers are. And I think we're going to come back and just do another update maybe on Matt. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You like caffeinated, Chris, do you? Yeah. The thing is my boys, they say, no, Dad, don't be too caffeinated. You're probably going to have some kind of an aneurysm or a heart attack. But I don't know. I feel pretty good today. It's another kind of a cold fall day, and caffeine is your friend. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. I like these. This is from Steve again. Steve, you stay with us. My goodness. That's awesome. Just depends on the time. Usually weekdays are good, and in the afternoon Pacific time. Okay, let's see. Afternoon Pacific time. What time is it there right now? I think I want to say I've got this uh, in LA right now. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. I can do that. I can definitely do that. All right. I'm going to try to schedule something. Maybe I'll try to do it every day. And okay, so the thing is, guys, here it is. I cannot do a live stream without you. So if you have tuned in to this live stream, you have to remember to tune in tomorrow to do the live stream with me again. Otherwise, I'm going to have no one to talk to. And then it's not going to be any fun. It's just going to be me going, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I could have one of those conversations with myself going, I don't know, Chris. What do you think? I don't know. Yeah, it's terrible. These cruise lines, blah, blah, blah. I don't, yes, okay. I think that might be very interesting for like the first 10 minutes. And then people will go, okay, Chris, you are just too weird. I'm not going to watch this. Yes, Steve says it's 4:59 here in LA. And then he has another live chat to attend to at 2 p.m. Pacific. So maybe we won't do 2 p.m. Pacific. Tanis says, Tanius, I hope I pronounced that correctly. How can I work and make money? This is totally unrelated to this question. Traveling around the world. If anyone here knows, please put a link below. I want to try. You know what? I should walk through my day today because I do travel around the world and I do make a little bit of money. The first thing you have to do is wake up very early in the morning and just work like a dog. I have been up since, I think I woke up at 2:30 this morning. That's why the caffeine has been so helpful. I wake up at 2:30 in the morning and I go, I'm not doing another day like this. I don't want to do another day like this. It's cold. Upstairs in my room, it's freezing cold. I get out of bed and I get up, do my stretches and yoga, and I go, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then I answer emails all day long. And then I do this. This is actually probably the more fun part of the day. But honestly, though, if you want to, you can do anything. Traveling is not the hard part. Like getting from point A to point B is not the hard part. It's really finding something that you like to do and that brings you some money. And for me, I've had I'll let you in on a little secret. It's more like the Amazon method. So Jeff Bezos, he doesn't charge a lot of money or a big markup for his products. Instead, he makes up for it by, he charges a little small markup, but he makes up for it on volume. So I have a lot of clients out there and I don't charge them a lot for what I do. I mean, especially for journalism, you don't even want to know. But I write a lot of stories and I get them in a lot of places. The syndication model really works pretty well. And then, so I get a lot of exposure and that way, that kind of opens some doors for me. So it is possible. But yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely not. If I wanted easy, I would have stayed in the United States and gotten a cushy desk job with one of the legacy media outlets that are all now going bankrupt anyway. So it doesn't even matter. Steve says weekends, not weekdays. Hey, Steve, I'm going to do weekends, sure, but so far I've been doing it every day. So we'll still see. You can tune in anytime. And if not enough people tune in on weekdays, I don't know, I might just do weekends too. Okay. Well, got more stuff here. Okay. Love the live streams from Facebook user. Okay, whoever you are. Have been watching them, plus can watch them if I miss them. The Caffeinated Chris is great. Good. I'm glad you like Caffeinated Chris. Thank you for doing what you do for consumers. Heart, heart. Hey, right back at you. Heart, heart yourself. Whoever you are, Facebook user, I love it. I am going to try to be a little bit more animated and more caffeinated, but I love doing this and I love interacting with you. You're the best. This would not happen. This podcast, it's not a podcast. This live stream would not happen without you. So thank you so much for your comments. It's awesome. Tell your friends to log in, and maybe we'll get more people, and we can, keep this thing going. I mean, I love answering questions. It's kind of like what I love to do most, and it's faster. And I probably going to get myself into more trouble for it than doing it in writing. Writing is so, you have to think about whatever you're putting on the page and all that. And uh, comment from Steve says you can do it tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific. It'll be good. I will do my best. I I don't know when I can get on sometimes because I have like stuff going on, and I don't always have the room because the boys are sometimes downstairs here, and they're trying to do something like, I don't know, because I have the kitchen right here. I'll just show you. I've got, see, here's the kitchen. So I'm sharing that with the boys, and the boys sometimes have to eat. So I can't say, get lost, man. I'm doing a live stream. Instead, I have to go, okay, I'll wait or whatever. Okay. We have reached the end of the comments. I see some people dropping off already. You've had enough caffeinated, Chris. I get it. I get it. Okay. This has been so much fun. And maybe next time I'll give you a little bit of a heads up before I go online, and I'll drink even more caffeine. That'll be fun. And yeah, we might have something going on too, an update with Vantage. I will try to find out more. We'll just have to see about that. Thank you so much. This has been lots and lots of fun, just hanging out with you and talking about crazy luggage stuff. I think tomorrow maybe we'll talk about traveling and Christchurch and places like that. Ludmilla, you are awesome. Thank you for joining me. And please join tomorrow too. Don't forget to hang out with me tomorrow. You know what? Steve, I like that idea a lot. I should just bring the boys on. My middle child, Aiden, would definitely, okay, he's, just as a sidebar, we have time. Just as a sidebar, my middle child, Aiden, is studying, he's a graduate student right now at the University of Florida, and he's studying communications. And so he has been telling me about live streaming and telling me what to do. Like, for example, I didn't know what to call people in the chat panel. I just was going to say, commenters. And he's like, no, Dad, you have to call them chatters. That's what they're called, chatters. Okay, so I call them chatters. But he's been giving me like pointers on how to do live stream. And if we did a live stream, the two of us, then it would have to be, I would have to like not have, see, I've got the lapel mic on right now. I would have to be do an open, like we'd have to use the speaker mic, and it would sound a little bit more tinny, but we could definitely do it. And then Aiden would, I'm sure, have a lot to say. The thing though about having someone like Aiden on, as he's 18, is that his filter is not quite as developed. And so he may say some things that are like totally out of bounds, get me kicked off most of the mainstream YouTube, like Facebook channels. I don't know if I want that to happen. He's a good guy, but when we do our podcast, we sometimes have to like edit sections of what he says out. Anyway, we'll just have to see. I'll ask him if he wants to do one, and then we'll find out. Okay, Matt, if you say so. Be careful what you ask for. You never know. You never know. Matt, please tell your friends about the live stream, because I cannot do this thing without you and your buddies drop in and hang out with me. I promise you it will be fun. And the nice thing about this is that I can actually invite a guest on. So if you have like a setup with Zoom and everything like that you use, I can drop you in, and we can do like a Q&A. I did that yesterday with Bob Batchelor, and that was a ton of fun. And Bob is a great guest to have. I mean, he's like, and what a character. I mean, I love that cowboy hat he has. Okay, so I'm going to sign off now. I see people dropping off already, and they're like, you've taken a whole hour of my time, Chris. What are you doing? Well, I'm pretty exhausted too, and I'm fully caffeinated. So maybe tomorrow we'll just pick this up where we left off. There's a lot going on. We'll talk about, I have some stories that I'm going to have out in my email newsletter that we can talk about. I love you guys. You're the best, really, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Uh, have fun out there today, and have a great weekend. And wherever you are, enjoy and stay out of trouble. All right, safe travels, everyone.